Hi guys, welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make a dish from my hometown of Hyderabad called Bhagara Bhaingan. It's a dish made with eggplant. It's complicated, it's got a whole bunch of spices. The video is going to be a little bit long, maybe 10-15 minutes, but I hope you like it. I love this dish. I eat it with roti and rice. My mother-in-law makes a killer Bhagara Bhaingan. So does my wife and her sister, so many people in the family. This is my attempt at it, nowhere close to them, but I think it's still pretty good. See you on the other side.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a bunch of eggplants here. These are the little round baby eggplants that you find in the Indian store. I think I have about a dozen of them here. I washed them nicely and I brought them in here. I think the trick is to slice the eggplants just at the top into a little X so that the spices can seep in. Now I have here a few other things: coriander leaves, ginger garlic, and green chilies and onion. So I actually cut the ginger and garlic into really fine pieces and I grind them in a mixie to make a paste. I also cut the onion into small pieces and grind it into a paste. I have these two pastes separate. Now here I have coconut. I actually broke open a real coconut, raw coconut, and pulled the stuff insides out, and I grated them into nice fine, grated coconut like this. I have three other spices here. This is coriander leaves, sesame seeds, and peanuts. I'm going to roast these things on low flame. Then I'm going to grind them and make a powder. You'll watch that. These are the other spices I'm going to need: mustard seeds, methi, or fenugreek, jeera, and then red peppers, turmeric, and some salt. Now, there's a few other things we need. You're also going to need tamarind. Here you'll see that I got some tamarind, and what I did with the tamarind is actually put it apart into little pieces, but I put it in hot water and I soak it for a while I'm cooking. So when it comes time to use the tamarind, it's actually soaked, and I just take the tamarind pulp and the juice. Here I'm going to use olive oil. As I mentioned to you guys before, it's a little bit healthier option than the oil. The dish does take a little bit of oil, so you want to try and use the one with the lowest unsaturated fats. Okay, so I started with my Calphalon pan. I put a little bit of olive oil in it, put the heat on high flame, got the temperature up. Now I'm going to start with the coriander seeds. Just a couple of spoons of oil, couple of teaspoons, not a lot. And then I'm going to add the coriander seeds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on like medium high here, and I'm going to I'm going to fry the coriander seeds till they get to like golden brown. Then I'm going to add the red chilies, and I let it cook for a little bit. Again, I'm just trying to not burn them, just get them into a nice fried consistency. All right, now that these two are ready, I'm going to add the sesame seeds here, trying not to drop the peanuts into it. I actually like to fry the peanuts separately. So I put the sesame here, and again, it's kind of like a medium high. Maybe it takes now I lower it a little bit to medium, and I cook it for a minute and a half till everything gets to be like nice and brown. Next, I'm going to add the raw coconut to this, and the coconut is going to take a few minutes to cook well because raw coconut. Some people actually use dried coconut, and that's probably a good option too. So now I fried the raw coconut along with sesame, coriander seeds, and red chilies. What I'm going to do now is when this thing looks good, I'm going to remove this and put it in a bowl. It should look about like that. Now I'm going to get the raw peanuts, and that's what I said it should look like. Sorry. Now I'm going to get the raw peanuts into this pan, and I'm just going to roast them for a while. You can see here the raw peanuts have that brown cover on them. I don't like that in my dishes, so I'm going to be a little bit painful and take all that raw peanut stuff out, and then I'm going to add it to the other other things I did with the coriander seeds and so on, and then I'm going to grind it into fine powder in Vitamix and keep it aside. Now here, once I've done that, I've put some sunflower oil in a pan, and I'm going to shallow fry the eggplant. So I've added the eggplants a little cut on the edge of it so they can absorb the oil. I've got my handy tongs here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the heat on like medium to medium high and just get the oil to the right temperature. And the idea here is to shallow fry the eggplants so that they're about 70% cooked. You don't want to cook them too much. See, kind of like that. I've been turning them around to just get them cooked right. I actually, in this particular time I made it, when I was videoing it, I made the mistake and I think I cooked them a little too much. And you'll see what I mean when you look at the Bhagara Bhaingan. The eggplants look a little mashed. Ideally, you want to cook them a little less than that. Maybe about this time you should remove it. I waited a little longer, then I removed these eggplants from here. And then what I do is I take the shallow fried eggplants, I take a big plate, put some paper towel on it, and I actually put the eggplants on the paper towel. So some of the extra oil is kind of absorbed by the paper towel. Now you got to remember, you need to wipe the eggplants, off the moisture before you shallow fry them. Because I made this mistake once before, and if you don't do that, they splutter, and you got to be careful with the oil spluttering on you. So please wipe the eggplants off the moisture, put them in oil, shallow fry them for a bit, turning them around like that one at a time to make sure that all sides are cooked really well. And like I said, 70% cooked. So if you press on the eggplant, it should feel like nice and soft, but not too squishy, because you will want to cook them in the sauces one more time. Okay, now I put away the eggplants. I took another pan here, another saucepan, added maybe 3 teaspoonfuls of oil, not too much. The same oil that I used to shallow fry the eggplants, sunflower oil, I used here because for deep frying, the olive oil is not that good. Here I'm going to add the jeera and the mustard into this oil. And the heat's actually fairly high because I actually want that thing to brown. That's the mustard going in now after the jeera. And a little bit of the methi seeds too. So all 3 are in, and I'm going to make sure you stir them quite a bit so that they brown nicely. And once they're brown, remember I told you I made a kind of a mixed, kind of like a sauce or a paste out of ginger, garlic and green chilies. I have that paste now, and I'm going to add that paste to this thing that's cooking in the saucepan. So that's the ginger, garlic, and green chili paste. You want to stir that up a little bit, maybe just like medium heat. Make sure that it looks nice and cooked, and any of the raw taste of ginger and garlic is gone, and that really tastes bad if you keep it raw. Now, when this thing is cooked nicely, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my onions, which also, as I told you, I made them into a nice paste in the handy Vitamix mixie, and I'm going to add the onions also to this paste here. So that's the mashed up onions in the mixie. So the raw onions, I had made them into a paste. So now all this stuff together, I let it cook for a while. Now I actually add turmeric and salt. I like adding salt when the onions are cooking because I read somewhere that the moisture in the onions comes out faster. So now I cook all this stuff together. You can see the heat's actually reasonably high because onions, you want them to cook well. There it is. Now it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to get this tamarind that I told you that I had put some hot water in it, so it becomes like a nice kind of paste, little mushed with some water in it. I'm going to try and make sure that I pour it in without putting the tamarind seeds in. And if you put a couple of tamarind seeds in by mistake, you can always fish them out. So here comes the tamarind into this cooking onions. That's the tamarind. That's basically going to be your sauce for the Bhagara Bhaingan. So the tamarind water, there you see I actually did drop a couple of seeds. I fished them out later on, and you don't see it in the video, but you should try to do it beforehand. Anyway, so I'm going to mix all this stuff up and let it simmer for a while. You should probably put the lid of the calflower on top. Now here I actually added a little bit of water to get the base consistency to be like a little sauce for the eggplant. So mix it all up nicely. You see it cool down after putting the water. I'm going to put the heat up just a little bit and give it a good mix. All right, now I'm going to add this powdered mix I told you about: sesame, coriander seeds, red chilies, and the peanuts, all ground together into this nice powder, which I mix along with this sauce. Now here again, I think there's a little bit less water. I want a little bit more consistency, so I might add a little bit more water here to get the consistency up. There you go. I think actually after I watched this whole video, I kind of watched it. I put a little bit more water than I liked. Here, you probably want to put a little bit less. It looks too watery here for me, but it's okay if it's too watery. You can boil it a little longer till all the water goes out. But like I said, I made the mistake this time of overcooking the eggplant, so I couldn't boil it long enough. But in any case, it tasted great. So if you're going to do this, just put a little bit less water, maybe half of what I put in here. Now I put it all together, and I'm making the sauce. I covered it up so it simmers nicely, and all the spices get into this sauce. There you go. That's what it should look like, nice and brown, and try to get it a little bit thicker than this, but it looks pretty good. Now I added a little bit of jaggery. Now for those of you who don't know jaggery, it's kind of like it comes from sugar cane. It's a sweet. You can always add raw sugar if you don't know jaggery, but I think my Indian friends know jaggery. Now I added coriander powder and just a little bit of chili powder. Not too much, because you remember I already added a few green chilies and a couple of red chilies, so you don't need too much chili powder at this point. Just like maybe a quarter teaspoon. Okay, I mix it up again. You see it's boiling nicely, and now I'm going to put in the eggplants. These are the shallow fried eggplants that I add to this mix, and then I cover it up, cook it for another 2 to 3 minutes, and pretty much done. Now before we take it out, here you want to add that coriander leaves that I showed you. I chopped them up fine. I added to this, and it's pretty much done. Give it maybe another 30-40 seconds to absorb all that, and you can now turn off the stove and you can plate it. Many different ways to enjoy this beautiful Hyderabadi dish. You can eat it with roti, you can eat it with naan, you can eat it with rice, even with some crispy chips or papadums. And that's Bhagara Bhaingan by Raj Taluri. I hope you really enjoyed it. It's what it should look like, a beautiful dish from Hyderabad. I hope the recipe was detailed enough that you could make it and you enjoy it. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email. You know how to reach me. All right. Thank you for watching.